L.G.B.T.Q.I.A. What do these letters mean? Well, there are two parts to this list. The first group of letters fall under romantic attraction and the other group fall under gender identity. First, we will talk about romantic attraction. L is for lesbian. This is a label for girls who are attracted to girls. G is for gay. This is a label for boys who are attracted to boys. B is for bisexual. This is a label for girls or boys who are attracted to both girls and boys. A is for asexual. This is a label for people who aren't attracted to anybody. The prefix homo stands for the same. The prefix hetero stands for different or other. There are even some people who don't want to be called heterosexual or homosexual, choosing not to be labeled at all. The purpose of a label for anything in life is to help identify it more easily, but it is important to not disrespect people by giving them a label they haven't given themselves. Now let's go over the gender identity terms. T is for transsexual. This refers to a person who decides to present as the sex they were not born as. This does not have an effect on their romantic attraction or sexual preferences. I is for intersex. This refers to a person who is born with physical traits from both biological sexes. Often, parents are given the option to surgically modify their child to present as either male or female, which can cause problems for them in adulthood. So, when did you choose to be heterosexual or straight? When asked this question, most heterosexual or straight people say they never chose, that they were just born being attracted to the opposite sex, and since most people they know claim to be straight, they think that is the way everyone should be. Well, people a part of the LGBTQIA community feel the same way, that they have felt the way they have for as long as they can remember. What is culture? Culture is how we refer to all of the social behavior, institutions, and norms found in human societies, as well as the knowledge, beliefs, arts, laws, customs, capabilities, and habits of the individuals in these groups. It's like being born into a group of people who are in charge of teaching you how to be human. And there are several different recipes for how to do life as a human being. As we grow up, we receive culture from our immediate family members, extended family members, friends, friends of friends, strangers in the world via social and entertainment media. Culture is also different depending on what group you are spending time with. There is church culture, friend group culture, and school culture. Another part of growing up is choosing which parts of culture we want to keep and what parts we want to throw away. As you continue to grow and make more choices yourselves, you get to decide which things are good for the culture and what things are not. So why did I say all of that stuff about culture? Let's talk about school culture. There is a part of school culture we need to address. The aspect of school culture that makes it okay to insult people from the LGBTQIA community. How do we insult people from this community? One of the ways we insult people from the LGBTQIA community is by calling a person gay because you want to insult them or get them to stop doing something. When you call a person a name, it is like saying they are bad. When that name is gay, it is like saying being gay is bad. It's kind of like when people say you act like a girl, which is disrespectful to girls. These microaggressions are like stabbing people in the heart with tiny blades multiple times a day. And with that, we make the environment unsafe for both people in the community and people who are not. It's unsafe for people who are gay because they know it's not okay for them to be themselves. It's unsafe for people who are not gay because you are also telling them they cannot be themselves. It's like saying only people who act like a specific type of straight person can be themselves. And that isn't fair. There is a long history of societal hate in the United States directed at people in this community. I want to highlight just a few specific significant historical events in the U.S. history of societal hate for the LGBTQIA community. 1. Stonewall Riots, 1969, widely regarded as the catalyst for the modern LGBTQIA rights movement. The Stonewall Riots erupted in response to a police raid on the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York City. The riots lasted several days and galvanized the LGBTQIA community to demand equal rights and protections under the law. 2. The AIDS crisis of the 1980s and 1990s. The emergence of HIV/AIDS in the 1980s led to a devastating epidemic that disproportionately affected the LGBTQIA community. This period was marked by widespread fear, stigma, and discrimination against people living with HIV/AIDS. Activists like ACT UP, AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, fought for increased research, treatment, and support for those affected by the disease. 3. Matthew Shepard murder, 1998. The brutal murder of Matthew Shepard, a gay college student in Laramie, Wyoming, brought national attention to hate crimes and violence against LGBTQIA individuals. Shepard's death sparked renewed calls for hate crime legislation and greater protections for LGBTQIA people. 4. Obergefell v. Hodges, 2015. In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court ruled that same-sex marriage is a constitutional right, legalizing marriage equality nationwide. The decision represented a significant victory for LGBTQIA rights and marked a major milestone in the fight for equality. 5. Transgender rights movement. Over the past few decades, there has been a growing movement for transgender rights and visibility. Significant events include the activism of Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and other transgender activists during the Stonewall riots. The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell in 2011, allowing LGBTQIA individuals to serve openly in the military, and the increasing recognition of transgender rights in areas such as healthcare, employment, and public accommodations. 6. Transgender military ban reversal, 2021. The Biden administration reversed the ban on transgender individuals serving openly in the U.S. military, reinstating the Obama-era policy that allows transgender people to serve based on their gender identity. This decision represented a significant step towards equality and inclusion for transgender service members. These events provide a historical context for understanding the struggles and achievements of the LGBTQIA community in the United States. Hopefully, learning about these events can give you a deeper appreciation for the ongoing fight for LGBTQIA rights and the importance of solidarity and activism in creating a more inclusive society for everyone. So, what can we do about this? The answer is acceptance. Just as we don't choose our sexual orientation, we also don't choose our culture. It's ingrained in us from the moment we enter the world, shaping our understanding of ourselves and others. But just because something is a part of our culture doesn't mean it's right or just. Acceptance means embracing the diversity of human experiences and recognizing that everyone deserves respect and dignity, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. It means creating an environment where people feel safe and valued for who they are, not judged or discriminated against because they don't fit into narrow societal norms. To foster acceptance, we must start by challenging the harmful stereotypes and biases that perpetuate discrimination against the LGBTQIA community. We need to educate ourselves and others about the experiences of LGBTQIA individuals, amplifying their voices and stories to promote understanding and empathy. Moreover, we must actively confront and dismantle the systems of power and privilege that marginalize LGBTQIA people, advocating for policies and laws that protect their rights and ensure equal treatment under the law. This includes advocating for inclusive education that teaches tolerance and celebrates diversity, as well as supporting organizations and initiatives that provide resources and support for LGBTQIA individuals and their allies. But perhaps most importantly, acceptance begins with each and every one of us. It's about examining our own biases and prejudices and committing to being allies and advocates for LGBTQIA rights. It's about speaking up against discrimination and standing in solidarity with those who are marginalized and oppressed. In conclusion, acceptance is not just a word, but a fundamental principle of human rights and dignity. It's about recognizing the humanity in all of us and creating a world where everyone can live authentically and freely. And it starts with each of us taking a stand and saying, unequivocally, that love is love, and everyone deserves to be accepted for who they are.